Dr. Kaplan calls me to the office a few days later with the results. He says, Mike, if you want to get your wife pregnant, you're going to have what's called a varicocele repair. I'd never heard this term. He said, we cut an incision in your abdomen. We go into the vein adjoining your testicle. We squeeze out the excess blood. We patch you up. And you can't walk for about a week. I said, I don't even want to have a kid. Like, I had to level with him because it was escalating so rapidly. And I was like, Dr. Kaplan, I wasn't going to tell you this, but I don't even really want to have a kid. Now you're describing a Black Mirror episode, and I don't want to be in that one. And Dr. Kaplan says to me something I never expected anybody to say to me as an adult, never mind a medical professional. He says, Mike, here's what they don't tell you. No men want to have kids. And I thought, that's not true. Tell me more. He said, our wives want us to. We all go along with it. It's the best thing that'll ever happen to you. You'll call me and you'll thank me. It is the most joy you will ever experience. And I stumble out of his office in a daze. I mean, I nearly wandered into traffic. And then I turn around and I walk back in and I make an appointment for a varicocele repair, and they ask you to sign some pretty extreme forms, like, we may accidentally cut out your balls. I'm like, do your best, Mike Birbiglia. We may replace your balls with Chinese yin and yang balls. Namaste, Mike Birbiglia. The night before the scheduled procedure, I made the mistake of going on a surgery message board, and oh, I know. And okay, a gentleman who'd had this exact procedure wrote in all caps, which I found aggressive. Do not have this surgery. Your penis will never work again. Also, all caps. I call my doctor in the middle of the night. And I say, hey, I was just doing some research and I was talking to this one guy and he was shouting about how his penis doesn't work. Is that possible? He goes, Mike, a lot of these people are getting this stuff done by amateurs. Which I pictured immediately. Like, I like hunting, I like fishing, I do varicocele repairs out in the garage. At this point, Jen didn't think it was a good idea. I didn't think it was a good idea. I remember sitting up in the middle of the night thinking my wife would be a great mother, and I don't want to get in the way of that. So I'll let him tinker with my balls for a few hours. Well, tinker they did. The next morning, after several hours, I limped out of outpatient surgery. For 8 days, I walked around New York City like a cowboy in the snow. People were like, what happened? I was like, unnecessary ball surgery. But it worked. At that point, I'm shooting fire bombs, slinging rockets in every direction, laser accuracy. Everyone I'm even shaking hands with is walking away pregnant. And one of those people was my wife. Thanks. So I squeezed this tiny swim cap onto a portion of my big headlia, and Vanessa points to the pool. She says, hop in the instructional lane and show me your stuff. I've established at this point I do not have stuff. I mean, I don't have a repertoire, but I get in and I just give it all I have. You know, I'm pretty sure I may have been swimming towards the bottom, and I look like what would happen if you dropped a blender in a pool, you know, where I'm blending the water into a chlorine smoothie, and the instructional lane is also the walker's lane. So as I'm blending, these elderly aggressive walkers are blowing past me. I think one of them tried to dunk my head a little bit, and it's packed. Only in New York City is there traffic in the pool. And I said, Vanessa, is it always this crowded? She goes, no, it's the springtime. Everyone's getting ready for the summer. I go, oh, they want a body like this, which was a joke. It wasn't a stage-worthy joke. There's nothing I would bring to you at a big show here at the Vivian Beaumont Theater. It was sort of a conversational piece of witty repartee designed to create a personal bond between me and my new swim instructor. But she did not hear it. She said, what? I said, nothing. She said, Mike, I can't hear you. You have to shout. I said, Vanessa! They want a body like this! A joke without proper context or softness of cadence or comedic delivery is often a statement of pure insanity, because all 200 members of the pool community simultaneously swiveled their heads to see the body attached to this flamboyantly confident voice. And I don't have a swimmer's body. I have almost a drowner's body, where it looks like I'm drowning at all times, even when I'm not near water. Even shirtless and dry, people are like, are you okay? You know, it's sort of a river corpse body. And so I'm blending water for 90 seconds until I'm convinced I'm on the verge of my own death, and then I stand up. It's about 4 feet of water, and I get out of the pool, I dry myself off with 15 or 20 of those dish rag size YMCA towels. I put one under each foot, because Vanessa explains there can be fungus in the puddles, and I'm thinking this place is a death trap. I gotta get the hell out of here. Trying to get some cardio in now, mainlining spores, and then I walk over to the swim desk. I go to Vanessa, now that you've evaluated my level, is it possible we could book a swim lesson? She says, I just don't think I have time for that in my schedule. Which means I had auditioned for swim lessons, and I didn't get the part. Vanessa feels bad for me. She goes, look, Mike, if you come in maybe Wednesdays at 8 a.m., I could probably squeeze you in for 20 minutes. But if you want to take this seriously, I would recommend you swim on your own 5 days a week. I said, I don't think anybody swims 5 days a week. She said, a lot of people swim 5 days a week. I said, I don't even think Michael Phelps swims 5 days a week. She said, Michael Phelps definitely swims 5 days a week. We talk about this for about 45 minutes. We agree to disagree. I started swimming 1 day a week. I got into it. You know, I got my own swim cap. I got my goggles with a lifetime guarantee to never fit your face once, ever. I got the flip-flops for the fungus puddles, and a lock for my locker, and the bag with a pocket for wet bathing suits and fresh produce. And every Wednesday at 8 a.m. I would swim, and then I would go to this juice place on the corner, and I'd get a big juice the size of a horse bucket. And I started to think, this is who I am now. I swim, I juice, I'm of the juice generation. I'm juicy. I should get those pants. That say juicy on the ass. I think sometimes it's hard to tell. When I was 23, I was in Amsterdam with a friend of a friend, which is a cautionary type of person. A friend of a friend is someone you murder people with or buy steak knives from, and we're walking through the red light district. This is how naive I was at 23. I didn't know what that meant. If you don't know, it's a neighborhood in Amsterdam that has literally hundreds of prostitutes in windows illuminated by these red lights. And I'm walking with my friend of a friend. I'm thinking these are bars or strip clubs. And I say to my friend of a friend, like, should we go in one? He says, yeah, but we gotta choose carefully. I said, how come? He said, it's expensive. I said, how expensive? He said, it's about $200. I said, $200 to go into a strip club? He says, no. They're prostitutes. I said, we gotta choose carefully. I want to be very clear. I don't want to tell you this story. It's the only story I'll tell you tonight I genuinely do not want to tell you, but I feel like it's essential to the larger story I'm telling you. I chose someone who didn't have a long line. Something about the line that made it too real. Like if I were waiting in line, I could imagine thinking, the line for this prostitute is outrageous! And I chose someone who sort of looked like me. She was a cross between Matt Damon and Bill O'Reilly. And she walks me up these rickety steps into this room that's brightly lit and spare. There's only a bed the shape of a gurney. She says, take off all your clothes and sit on the bed. And I did that. And my body was not excited, which is, of course, a euphemism for my penis. And I thought that would be it. Like, she'd call it, like an umpire, like, rain delay, but that's not what happened. What happened was that she took a condom and she put it on the thing, which I didn't know was physically possible. I grew up in Massachusetts and we had health class in 7th grade and we put a condom on a banana, but never on a water balloon. And so she puts the thing on the thing and then starts filleting the thing. And then if I were ever at a guess, I'd say about 40 seconds later, I just, and then she said, and guess you're done. And I said to her, and I'll never forget this, I said, can't we just hang out? I'm telling you this long, embarrassing story to make the point that I consider myself decent.